Hello, third grade. We are working on lesson 18 problem set today. We are using what's called the distributive property. I'm going to write that up here. It is just a different way. Oops. We've been talking about the distributive property, and it's just a different way to break up this multiplication problem into two smaller ones so it's a little bit easier to solve. So we've been doing this with arrays. We've been doing it with building them. So now they're going to have us take a look at it as a number bond. Okay, so it may look different and confusing first. Hopefully you've watched the instructional video by Ms. Walker, but it's not necessarily harder. It's just a different way of using a different part of our brain. So number one says 8 times 10. So I'm thinking of that 8 times 10 to mean 8 tens. If I think of the number 8, I can split the number 8 into a 5 plus a 3. Now, because I'm measuring in tens, this means 8 tens, 5 tens, and I'm going to label this 3 tens. So now if I think about the problem down here, it's telling me I have 5 tens plus, well, I just split that up into 3 tens. Equals 8 tens. It wouldn't matter if this said tens or if it would say dogs. 5 dogs plus 3 dogs equals 8 dogs. Or if it said pencils, 5 pencils plus 3 pencils equal 8 pencils. It doesn't matter what the label is right here. We're just splitting up the 8 tens into 5 tens plus 3 tens. So now if I skip down to the next row, I have 5 tens really means in math 5 groups of 10. So if I think of 3 tens means 3 groups of 10 or 3 times 10. And 8 tens means 8 groups of 10 or 8 times 10. Well, 5 groups of 10 is 50. 3 groups of 10 is 10, 20, 30. And 50 plus 30 equals 80. So 8 times 10 is 80. Now if you want to, you can zoom back up to the top and put your 80 from the bottom back up here to the 80 at the top. Let's look at our next one. I have 7 times 4. Well, that means it's 7 fours. So I'm taking this 7 and I'm breaking it up into a 5. Why do you think we're using 5 all the time? It's because it's really easy to multiply by 5. So we use the 5 and then whatever's left over to get us to the bigger number because the 5 is easy to multiply by. So I have 5 fours. Now I need 7 fours all together. So 7 I split into a 5 and a 2. And remember our label is just coming over. So 5 fours plus 2 fours equals 7 fours. Well, in math, 5 fours is 5 times 4, and 2 fours is 2 times 4, and 7 fours is 7 times 4. So now if I think about it, 5 times 4 is 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 2 times 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 fours is 8. So I have 20 plus 8 is 28. So 7 times 4 is 28. Put it there and then zoom it back up to the top and put it here. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I have 9 times 10. Well, 9 times 10 is written like that. This time they took the word tens off. They just put the number, the equation, or part of the number sentence at the beginning. They just put that in the bubble. So 9 times 10, we're splitting up this 9 into a 5 again. And so this side would be a 4. Oops, I gotta erase it because it's not just 4 tens anymore. It would be 4 times 10. Okay, 9 splits into a 5 and a 4. So now on the line, they've labeled it 5 tens plus 4 tens equals 9 tens. So 5 tens is 5 times 10, 4 tens is 4 times 10, And 9 tens is 9 times 10. So how much is 5 times 10? 5, 10, 15, 20, oh, I'm sorry, I counted backwards. Count 5 groups of 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Todd's brain is still sleeping. 4 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. And 50 plus 40 is 90. So 9 times 10 is 90. And I do realize that you could have counted that out and got to the answer without breaking it apart. It's just, we're just going through the process, because when we start moving into 7s and our 8s multiplication facts, it will get harder and we will need to break them up. 10s are pretty easy to count. So this is just a way to practice. So don't think, oh my gosh, Mrs. Todd, I could have gotten 9 times 10 equals 90 10 minutes ago and not done all of this. Okay, I do know that, but sometimes when we get to the harder problems, it will be a little bit easier to break it apart. So we're using some easy facts first to get in the habit of the process. All right, again, number 4 is 10 times 10. I do realize that you're going to be able to count 10 groups of 10 and come up with 100, that you already probably know the answer. Okay, but we're still going to go through the process of figuring out how to break it into a number line, into a number bond. Well, if I'm breaking up 10, I'm going to break it into a 5 and a 5. So on this side of my number bond, I'm going to put 5 times 10, and on this side I'm going to put 5 times 10. So I have over here, if I look, 10 10. So that means on my first line they're going to want me to write 5 10s plus 5 10s equals 10 10s. And 5 10s in a multiplication sentence is 5 times 10. Again, plus 5 times 10 equals 10 times 10. 5 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, plus 5 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, equals 10 times 10, 50 plus 50 is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. All right, let's go to the second page. Number 5, there are 7 teams in the soccer tournament. 10 children play on each team. How many children are playing in the tournament? Use the break apart and distribute strategy and draw a number bond to solve. So I have 7 teams. I have 10 students on each team. So if I think about it all together, I'm trying to figure out 7 tens, which is 7 times 10. I'm going to break my 7 into a 5 and a 2. 5 times 10 plus 2 times 10. Okay, so over here, I'm like, okay, that just like I did at the top, 5 times 10 plus 2 times 10, I'm going to put it in my number bond circles now, 50 plus 20 equals 70. There are 70 children playing in the tournament. That's how the break apart and distribute strategy works, instead of drawing the pictures out. And again, we're just practicing the process of trying to use these number bonds, because for some people's brains, the arrays and breaking apart the arrays and drawing the line, that makes the most sense for their brain. For other people's brains, where number bonds make the most sense for that for their brain, and when we break apart and distribute. And for some of us, we're just going to know in our brain that we can do 7 times 10 and be all okay. So we're using different strategies for different people's brains. Number 6, what is the total number of sides on 8 triangles? They didn't tell me I had to use a certain strategy, so I'm going to use whatever strategy works the best for my brain. And for my brain, I'm going to draw 8 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put them on here. 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to draw my 8 triangles, and then I'm going to count up the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24, and I'm going to need to put a label, sides. Now for some of you, you don't need to draw the picture anymore, because your brain is saying, I know that there's 3 sides on a triangle, and I know that there's 8 triangles, and I know that's a multiplication sentence. So Mrs. Todd, I'm not drawing the picture anymore. My brain's ready to go on and just look at the multiplication equation. 3 times 8, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. I already knew that, so I don't need to draw the picture. Whatever way your brain is working is okay. 24 sides for right now. Eventually, we're all going to get to this point where we're not having to draw the pictures anymore, but for right now, draw the picture if you need to. All right, number 7. There are 12 rows of bottled drinks in the vending machine. Each row has 10 bottles. How many bottles are in the vending machine? Okay, I am not drawing all that, because if I draw 12 rows and there's 10 bottles in each row, I'm going to have a lot of things going on down here in my picture, and I'm not drawing all that. So now I'm going to use a different strategy, so I'm not trying to clog up my workspace with all those pictures. So I have 12 rows of 10. That means I have 12 tens, 12 times 10. I'm going to use the break apart strategy. Now for some of you, you're going to be able to count this out and just figure out the answer right away. For others of you, we're going to break it apart. So I'm going to break this 12 into a 10 and a 2. So now I'm going to have 10 times 10 plus 2 times 10. Well, 10 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 is 100. Plus 2 times 10 is 10, 20 is 100 is 20. So 100 plus 20 is 120. I'm going to have 120 bottles. For some of you, your brains were ready to go, oh, 12 times 10, that's 120. And you didn't need a strategy to solve it. That's okay too. Whatever your brain is ready for is totally fine. All right, so the front part of your homework page is going to look just like these 4 problems. So come back and look if you're not sure what to do. In the back page, you're going to have one where you need to use the break apart strategy like I did right here on number 5, and the other 2 problems you're going to be able to solve on your own.